damn novel. He could read it right now in class. He picked up the book of T.S. Eliot's poems. He'd borrowed it from a friend, no use wasting good money on something he'd never look at again, and opened it. There, next to the title page, was a photo of the man himself. A real weenie. Tiny little granny glasses, lips pursed like he had 2 feet of broomstick shoved up his ass. Dwayne snorted and began turning pages. Wasteland, wasteland. Here it was. Oh, shit. This was no limerick. The son of a bitch went on for page after page. The first lines are by now so well known that it's hard for us to imagine the sensation, the shock that people felt upon first reading it in The Dial in 1922. This was not what people considered poetry. It was rather a kind of anti-poem. The persona of the poet was obliterated. To whom belong these grim and disturbing thoughts? There is, of course, the famously bitter allusion to Chaucer in the opening line, but there is much more going on here. Reflect on the opening images. Lilacs out of the dead land, dull roots, forgetful snow. No other poet in the history of the world, my friends, ever wrote about spring in quite this way before. Dwayne flipped to the end of the poem, found it contained over 400 lines. Oh, no. No. It's intriguing that Eliot chose lilacs in the second line rather than poppies, which would have been a more traditional choice at the time. Poppies were then growing in an abundance Europe hadn't seen for centuries, due to the numberless putrefying corpses from the Great War. But more important, the poppy, with its connotations of narcotic sleep, seems the better fit to Eliot's imagery. So why did Eliot choose lilacs? Let's take a look at Eliot's use of allusion, here most likely involving Whitman's When Lilacs Last in the Dooryard Bloomed. Oh my God, it was like a nightmare. Here he was in the front of the class and not understanding a word the professor was saying. Who'd have thought you could write 400 lines of poetry on a freaking wasteland? Speaking of wasted, his head felt like it was packed full of ball bearings. Served him right for hanging out until 4 last night, doing shots of Citron Grey Goose. He realized the class around him had gone still and that the voice from behind the lectern had fallen silent. Glancing up at Dr. Hamilton, he noticed the professor was standing motionless, a strange expression on his face. Elegant or not, the old fellow looked as if he'd just dropped a steaming loaf in his drawers. His face had gone strangely slack. As Dwayne watched, Hamilton slowly withdrew a handkerchief, carefully patted his forehead, then folded the handkerchief neatly and returned it to his pocket. He cleared his throat. "Pardon me," he said as he reached for a glass of water on the lectern, took a small sip. As I was saying, let's look at the meter Eliot employs in this first section of the poem. His free verse is aggressively enjambed. The only stopped lines are those that finish his sentences. Note also the heavy stressing of verbs: breeding, mixing, stirring. It's like the ominous, isolated beat of a drum. It's ugly. It shatters the meaning of the phrase. It creates a sense of disquietude. It announces to us that something's going to happen in this poem, and that it won't be pretty. The curiosity that had stirred in Dwayne during the unexpected pause faded away. The oddly stricken look had left the professor's face as quickly as it came, and his features, though still pale, had lost their ashen quality. Dwayne returned his attention to the book. He could quickly scan the poem, figure out what the damn thing meant. He glanced at the title, then moved his eye down to the epigram, or epigraph, or whatever you called it.